If you've been listening to the podcast for a while and thought, man, I would love to grab a drink and pick the brain of some of these guests I've been listening to, or maybe me as well, here's your shot. I'm putting on an event this April called Elevate. This is the third year doing this, and we're going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, where we're going to have the top agency owners really come together, share what's working, get real on what's not, and really help each other scale faster. So if you're ready to finally get out of the weeds and grow your agency the right way, I want you to join me and 50 other amazing 7 and 8 figure agencies at Elevate. You'll connect with people who've been there, leave with a real growth plan, and actually enjoy the process. Now, we only have a few tickets left, so make sure you go over to elevatemyagency.com to lock in your spot now. Go to elevatemyagency.com now.
Hey, Andy, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, Jason.
Yeah, excited to have you on. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Andy Crestodina, co-founder at Orbit Media. Orbit Media Studios. We're a digital agency focused on web development and website optimization. We're heading into year 25, so I've been doing this for a while. It's a team of 55. We're around $8.5 million in revenue, and ours is maybe a common story. I don't know. It depends, but an agency built totally on inbound leads, content strategy, content marketing, organic channels. So I'm also a content marketer going way, way back, and that's been our go-to-market forever.
How'd you get started in the agency? What made you guys say, hey, I'm going to start an agency?
Fun, weird personal projects in the 90s. Day job was IT recruiting. Didn't get to make anything. Recruiters just help people change jobs. And I wanted to do something creative and point at a thing and say, I made that. And the internet was newish, and I wanted to build websites. And I had no resume or portfolio. And in a flash, I realized that it would be easier to start a company than to find a job because the client's taking a smaller risk than an employer would be. So fortunate for me, my buddy, friend from high school, roommate from college, was already building websites since like the mid 90s. And so I joined him. We had a different partner. It collapsed because the third partner couldn't follow through on commitments. So let that die. It was like about a less than 1 year experiment. And then reformed with just me and Barrett, and have been on this very long, slow growth path since then. And it's good. You know, we're based in Chicago. The team's now all over the place. And it's a mix of project-based web development for mid-market companies, kind of much larger projects than we had when we first started, and retainer-based optimization engagements, which are a combination of search and conversion optimization, as well as GEO, of course. And it's going well. This year was not a growth year for us. I'll be upfront about that. But the team's happy, clients are happy, and we keep plugging away, closing deals, and doing great work.
How long ago did you hire a CEO to replace you?
It was a client who was a management consultant 15 years ago. And then he saw that there were some needs here after having experienced, the outside perspective. Came in as an advisor and saw a huge tension between us and a partner. I had a different partner at the time. There were 3 partners, this other guy, and said, hey, why don't we do some 360s and see like who's, how strong the foundation is here. And just identified some huge toxic spots in this company. And it became very clear that we had to, and the more he was around, his name's Todd, things were just better when he was here. And it's like, Todd, can you kind of, went from a consultant to an advisor to, how can we get you to be part of this place? And he was into it. Just a part in his life, he was having kids. He just wanted more stability than the kind of the hustle, eat what you kill consultant thing. But he said, you got to get rid of that other guy first. So I also have the experience, not just of adding a partner and hiring a CEO, but also of firing a partner and going through that decoupling, that excruciating tearing apart of a partnership where, you go through the buyout and negotiation. And
how long did that take?
About a year.
Did you guys have something more concrete?
We had a shareholder agreement, and it did not serve us well. It had a formula in there for that situation, and the number was very high, more than we could even paid. I don't know how we ended up with that. We had some bad advice. So in hindsight, I would have actually been better. I don't know if you'd recommend this. It sounds weird. The handshake would have been better for me, Jason. That agreement caused a lot of trouble. And the other partner sort of successfully didn't respond for a long time. And it just got harder to try to get to closure and get him to come to the table. And the empty chair negotiation strategy worked well for him. But no, I had to mortgage my house and lend the company huge amounts of money. And then it took years to pay that back, to pay me back.
So other than making sure that valuation is low, what would you have done differently?
Well, the shortest, simplest change I could have made would be to just simply not sign the shareholder agreement when it came along. I remember nudging them to do it. Like, hey guys, aren't we supposed to finish this thing? I didn't read it carefully enough or really run the numbers, but he was running a separate sort of department, video production at the time, and it was not profitable. And he was just expecting others to make it better for him. Yeah. And a lot of sort of candidly, there were some other sort of misbehaviors. And I was too hungry in the beginning to make deals and to take bold, place bets. And, adding him as a partner was just never a great idea in the first place. I don't think the values were aligned. You're hearing a lot of problems. I'm telling you the things that didn't work. But in hindsight, I don't know. I mean, just an arbitration clause probably, or something that just said, fair market, that formula really killed us.
Yeah. Honestly, I see that too often. And usually my saying was always this: you either know the bad partner or you're the bad partner. Even though there's a lot of successful partnerships out there, usually when you have more than two partners, there's one that is usually an issue. And I had a bad partner. He didn't start off to be a bad partner. And I think he wanted to be a good partner. He just didn't know how. And at that time, I couldn't coach him to where he needed to be. We sold our agency. But looking back, I wish I had that confidence to buy him out at the earlier stages, to forego a lot of those frustrations over the years that people want to kind of avoid. What were some of the things that your CEO did other than, removing the one partner to kind of get you guys back on track of where you were trying to go?
Well, that was a really tough time for Orbit, our agency, and for me. I was doing all the sales and marketing. So I would have conversations and meetings all day, and then I would work on proposals and quotes all night. And it was just burning it hard. And when he came, he's like, oh, well, we need scalable processes. We need a team. You need sales reps. You have leads. We've got to respond to those leads. Let's create a system. And he hired 4 the inside salespeople. At that time, we called them strategists because it's a totally strategic role. They're disqualifying a lot of the leads, that they're guiding people through decisions and, considering all the goals. So when we added the web strategy team, I suddenly had like 20 hours a week more of my time, which was magical because I'm very driven and ambitious and goal-focused, and I have the energy to plow that into other things. So I doubled my publishing frequency. I started an annual conference. I wrote a book. I started a live monthly event. I started recording videos. So then I went all in on content, and everything grew faster because the brand became much stronger and there was more awareness for it. I got serious about marketing. So today we have like 3 million readers a year or more. I give like 100 presentations a year. We're highly regarded for our skills and what we do. And that change is all attributable to Todd taking that huge hat off my head. And it's been amazing.
Hi there, agency owners. Let me ask you, are you ready to scale your agency without increasing your overhead costs? If yes, then you need to know about E2M Solutions. Now, E2M is the #1 most reliable white label partner for agencies. They specialize in web design, WordPress development, e-commerce, SEO, and content writing. They basically do all the heavy lifting, which frees you up to focus on growing your agency. Now, here's the best part. E2M is just not another vendor. With over 10 years of experience, their team of over 300 experts has a track record of delivering for more than 300 agencies. They're your strategic partner. They deliver on time every time, so you can focus on what you do best. Now, E2M's mission is simple: to help 500 agencies increase their revenue and profit margins with white label services that actually work. And to help you get started, they're offering a special deal, 10% off for the first 3 months, but act fast because it's only a limited time offer. So head over to e2msolutions.com/smartagency to check out their transparent and their flexible pricing. Trust me, if you're ready to grow without burning out, E2M is the partner you've been looking for. That's e2msolutions.com/smartagency. Go check them out and tell them Jason Swank sent you.
Yeah, I tell a lot of people, you need to kind of audit your calendar and really see where all your time is actually going. And a lot of times, most founders are leading the sales and marketing. And I was kind of the same way. You're just like, man, I'm exhausted. And then you have to respond to all these stupid RFPs, stand for request for punishment, real fucking problem. Like I couldn't stand RFPs. But then when we started bringing people on and looking at my time and going, man, if I could just get someone to do these proposals, put this strategy together, hell, meet with the, qualify them in the first meeting. And then eventually it was just at a point where I just needed to add color to the meeting. I just needed to walk in 10 minutes, hey, shake hands, kiss babies, whatever it is. And then, they'll close the deal. And what I found, I had more time to be the CEO rather than that owner at that time. So
I felt that too. It's magical to see new clients come in that I've never heard of.
Yep.
Like, who's that? Wow, great. Their sites go live. Wow, I didn't even know we were working with them. I'm in that situation again now where I am partly out of just fear of missing opportunities. I book myself too much. I'm doing 2 workshops. Right after this, I have to fly to Raleigh, giving 2 workshops at a conference, fly back, do 2 webinars that day. I'm at that point again now. Well, I mean, there are enviable opportunities, but I mean, there's thousands. I mean, tons of people would love to give a keynote at a major conference. I'm asked to do that a lot. So I feel honored, partly. It's not for personal brand. I'm already beyond where I would need to be for any of those goals. But it generates leads and we don't do advertising. I think there could be more efficient ways to do that. But Jason, I'm sure you'd see opportunities here. It's really interesting just how much reach you can get with simply a content program. It's a 250,000 subscribers. It's a large reach. And that's a brand play. It's not about demand at that level. But
do you do a podcast at all?
I do 3 a week with other people.
I mean, obviously, but do you have a podcast yourself for the agency?
I do not. No, I don't have a podcast at the moment. And I did. And that was one of those moments when you got to decide what to say no to. But no, I don't have a podcast. I have a webinar series. I have a LinkedIn Live series. I have, a monthly event. I have an annual conference. Joe Polizzi, old friend, says, you got to pick 2 things and do it, narrow your scope. And so mine is mostly the articles, our blog newsletter and our LinkedIn newsletter, and presentations.
I got you. Yeah. Many years ago, I was being asked to speak at all these places and, it just wore me out. I just felt so drained. And then I felt like I wasn't present for my family when I came back because I didn't want to talk to anybody. Because my biggest fear was if anybody listens to the podcast or follow us online and then they meet me and then I wasn't myself because I was so tired, because I've met a lot of people that, I looked up to, and then I met them in person. I'm like, oh shit, man, don't ever meet your heroes. They suck.
So my old friend Brent said, hey, do you want to speak at this event? It's not really my target audience. It was agencies. They're not going to hire us to do their work. But it was at that thing, I think it was Denver, that I met Darby, and through Darby met you. I mean, everything leads to something. So The Life of Yes has some upsides. I'm going to say it.
Well, that's one of my favorite movies is The Yes Man with
Jim Carrey.
Yes, Jim Carrey. When he's just like, yes, he's just taking everything.
Korean lessons? Oh, let's do this.
Yeah. Running? Yes. Running while drinking. I had 1,000 different Dr. Pepper Red Bulls. That's awesome. Well, this has all been amazing. And is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the agency owners listening in right now?
It's not advice, it's a question, and you triggered it through other conversations. How do you balance loyalty to the team? Our average team tenure is like 8 years. I have people who've been here for 20 years with profitability and EBITDA. I mean, there's moments when you come up with bonuses and salaries and retention and balance, utilization and capacity where you make choices for the people. It's the opposite of a PE firm. It's a culture people love. And so I don't have an answer, but I'll put that out there as a consideration. And if you feel anyone listening to this feels that, you're not alone. I feel that, and I care deeply about my team and their kids and their healthcare and their mortgages. So that is real and it's understandable. And there's multiple right answers, but one of them is to take care of your people.
That's the only answer in my book is taking care of your team, because everything else will follow. And then really rely on your team to help you with the profit. When I look at agencies to buy, or when we're consulting agencies, I'm looking at their profit, but I'm also looking at their culture. My last podcast, we were talking about, she bought 5 agencies, 2 of them didn't work out, and one of them was because of culture. And we were like, dude, if you just went on like a 4-hour drive, like a road trip with them, you probably could have figured that out, right? Like, see what snacks they get. Do they take phone calls in the car? Do they show up late? Whatever it is, right? Whatever drives you crazy. But really, at the end of the day, profit can be controlled by looking at charging more and looking at some of the, profit leaks that you have in the company, maybe scope creep, but put that back on your team to help them figure that out. Because, when I sold my agency, we had key employees that all benefited, or they got nice sized checks and that kind of stuff. So we always wanted them to make sure they operated as owners as well. Even in this business, if we ever do decide to sell it, my team's going to benefit from it. So I'm always relying on them, but I always make decisions based on them first.
Bravo, sir. Hats off to you. I feel the same, and it's never let me down.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Andy, for coming on the show. And if everyone listening, make sure you subscribe. We got 2 shows a week all the time. We haven't missed a show since we started 11 years ago. So for everyone listening to the podcast for over a decade, thanks so much for giving us your attention. And until next time, have a swank day.